Hi, I'm Janne from How to Enjoy Wine, and today we're going to look at the best wines to have with steak. Red is the archetypal type of wine to have with steak, and it is the best, I have to say, but white wines are also a possibility, and I'll come back to them later. So when you're looking at pairing food and wine, there are three factors to consider. The first is the weight, the second is the flavour intensity, and the third is the flavour characteristics. So with weight and flavour intensity, you're looking to balance the two. So something, for example, like whitefish, lightly poached. The fish itself is a lightweight food, and the way you're cooking it, it becomes a subtler flavour intensity. Therefore, it's at this scale. When you go right up to a steak or a well-done ribeye, for example, you're way up at this end of the scale. And what you want to do is have a wine that has a similar weight and a similar flavour intensity, so one doesn't overwhelm the other. When it comes to flavour characteristics, then you're looking at things like umami, the most wonderful word that I had never heard of before I studied wine. And it's basically that savoury earthiness that you get, for example, from cooked mushrooms. And there you can either complement the flavours or you can contrast them. And I'll come back to that while we talk about reds. Okay, so how does that all apply to steak and wine? So starting with the reds, if you've got, steak in itself is up at this end of that scale in terms of weight and flavour intensity. Particularly if you cook it well done, then you really are, from a flavour point of view, up here. So the cut of the steak also matters. So a fillet is slightly lighter weight, so it's not down the fish end, is slightly lighter weight than a fattier ribeye, for example. And if you do it rare, compared with, say, a well-done, well-charred ribeye, then you're on a bit of a scale in terms of the weight and the flavour intensity. So, for example, for that rare fillet, then you might look for a Pinot Noir, say a Valpolicella Classico. You're looking for that lighter weight, lower tannin reds. As you get up and you go into that weightier, richer, more intense, then that's what you're looking for in your red wines. So there you come through maybe a Carmenere, you come as Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, ideal, Argentina, where the steak come from, Shiraz. Now Shiraz is a good example of taking a flavour characteristic and complementing it. So say you were having a sauce, you were having a peppercorn sauce. So that brings in that peppery flavours. And Shiraz often has a sort of black pepper to it. So there you could complement both of those flavours in your wine and your food. Then you're working up, you might want to do a Grenache Shiraz blend like this Côte d'Aron, a Merlot, a Zinfandel, and then you get into your Ripassos and your Amarones. So you've got that whole extension of red wines. Now an interesting little tip is that even within the same grape variety, and these are both Carmeneres from Chile, this one is unoaked. So this is just a fairly standard lighter weight red. So that is up this end. Whereas this is a Grand Reserva. So this has spent quite a bit of time in oak. And what that does is push it up into the richer end. So that's what you would pick if you were having your well-done ribeye. Whereas you might go for that if you were going for a rarer mate and a less weighty cut. So those were all great red wines to have with steak. But if you prefer white, then check out my separate video on best white wines with steak. And you can learn all things wine at howtoenjoywine.com.